share her with you all, and I promise you're going to fall in love just like I did. So let's give her a big round of applause. Jen Suliafu.
This is why I wanted my kids to come, because when we're having conversations like this, I think this is the most education and the most valuable information that they will get, is when they start to hear these conversations. So I like to bring them to my speaking engagements. So many times when people buy into a belief system, it can be good. Some people it's really great for, because it's taking their life to the next level. It's helping them feel that community and that structure. Yes, that's great. What isn't great is when they stop thinking for themselves, which they often do when they get into a belief system, and they go and they listen to their pastor or their priest or their bishop, and their bishop's telling them what to do, and it doesn't feel right. Or they're not even listening as to whether it feels right? So I was in a situation, I used to go to church, right? And I remember when I was married before, and I was going through a divorce, and I was pregnant, and I was out to here. And at the time, my ex-husband was, he was all over the place, telling me he wanted to date other women, he wanted to do all this stuff, right? And I went in heartbroken, and went, because you're taught to go to your bishop, right? So I went to my bishop, and I sat down for his wisdom. What do I do? Okay? And his wisdom was, don't push him to ask. Don't ask any questions. Don't push him to make any decisions. Let him go through what he's going through, and just be there for him. At that point, it was like, wow, big epitome. Aha for me. It was like, I don't know what the future holds. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But I definitely know I'm not going to be doing that. And I walked out of there that day, and I feel like I took a lot of my power back. Because it was a big moment for me to realize that I had been following blindly, and maybe it had to get to that point for me to recognize that I wasn't just going to sit down and be quiet and support and do what everybody else needed. And I had this man who was at the head of my church that told me to sit down, be quiet, support my husband. And I never went back. Financial system. This is another big one. So in 2019, you guys, I always love to study the energy of the upcoming year. I listen to lots of different people and that I'm aligned with. And then I take my own read on what I feel. And I didn't see exactly how it was going to play out, but it was clear to me that there was going to be a massive shift in 2020. Some of you here were at my event in 2019. It was November of 2019. And I stood up and I said, hey, you guys, next year, humanity, mankind, we're going through a massive shift. And something's going to happen where we're all going to have to come together. And I didn't know what that even was or how it was going to look. But I saw that systems were going to be breaking down, and I had heard from people that financial system, government, educational systems would be breaking down. And I remember thinking, how in the world is the financial system going to break down? Banks are going to break down? Government? How's this going to happen? Well, it didn't all happen in 2020, which I thought it was wow, this is going to be quite the shebang in 2020, and then, by December 31st, it's going to be over. It was only the beginning. It was only the opening, the floodgates came open, right? And I believe we're going to be in this massive transition for, I don't know, 5 years, maybe 10, I don't know, a while. I think it's going to be the wowing 20s where we're going to go, whoa, wow, I didn't expect that, or I didn't know that. And people that are paying attention, they've already been saying wow a lot, right? But there's a lot of people that are like, oh, we're just going to get back to normal. Everything's going to be good. No, we're not getting back to normal. It's like the beginning of a massive, massive shift, okay? So with the financial system, here's the answer to me saying, how in the world is the banking system going to collapse? Does anyone know?
Cryptocurrency.
DeFi. In comes DeFi. So
People are afraid of, people want to take down the big banks.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So we have been controlled by centralized bankers. These bigwigs who have pulled the puppet strings on all of us, right? So it's like we're taught to put our money into the bank or put it into the savings account, which you're getting
Pennies. If that.
nothing back on, and they're taking that money and they're playing with it in other areas, and they're making thousands of percentages on our money, right? But you go, but wait, no, every time I go there, my money's there. Yeah, because they take it from somebody else's account and give it to you, right? So decentralized DeFi, decentralized finance, it was created in 2009. I never knew about it in 2009. I'd heard a little bit about Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first decentralized on the blockchain, okay, on this new technology. But I didn't pay attention to it. It was like, I don't know. Like, what is that? You know, it's some kind of quirky thing that a lot of people try to tell you that it's scary and it's bad and to stay away from it, right? Like in mainstream media, that's kind of like, ooh, you're messing with fire, stay away from that. Well, what it is it's where we can actually be our own bank. There are many, many people on the planet that do not have access to banking. There's a lot of poverty on the planet. And the reason there's a lot of poverty on the planet is because people are out in remote villages. They don't have, you know, the access to the internet and the banks and all of the different things like modern societies. But that day is changing, and the power is actually coming back to the people. And these centralized banks, the reason you're going to constantly see in the media and on TV, and anytime you get on, it's funny because I have an investment account, like a traditional investment account. On their front page, they're telling you why you should stay away from Bitcoin. Why is that? Because you don't get a cut of it? I see through that stuff now, right? So starting to understand the financial system and where you can take back your power, it's really, really exciting, okay? Which on that note, I am going to be doing a whole academy. It's called Empowerment Academy that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be teaching about these things. Who knows about the blockchain? Does anybody know about the blockchain? Okay, isn't that fascinating? That it's changing our entire world. And it's happening right now. And it's like, I'm going to compare it to the internet because it's the closest thing that we can compare it to. But it's like saying, hey, who knows who the internet is? Well, what the internet is? Well, everybody's like, well, yeah, duh, lady, right? But back in 1990, you didn't know. But some people knew, right? So that's what's happening, is there are rumblings of change, and I think everybody can feel it, but they don't know what it is. And there are things that I'm like, wow, there's so many things that are, it's, you know, the middlemen are going to be taken out. Like, the middlemen are taken out right now. Like, we're in the works of it right now. And what I mean by that is the banks, they're the middlemen. From my finances to me being able to pay somebody else, or for me to, you know, they're the middlemen that my finances have to go through, okay? Religion, you know, and I'm not saying religion's going away, I've got to be careful here, but I think people are learning to connect and learning how to go straight to the divine and listen to their guidance system. and not necessarily have to go to someone else to tell them how to do that, right? And so paying attention to these things right now, the blockchain, essentially it's a system that is a digital computing system that it's hard to explain, but it's basically going to take down several careers, take out several careers. Things are going to shift and change, and it's going to take out those people that are they're the connector, right? And it doesn't have to be scary. It can be really exciting. If you know what's up, it'll be exciting. If you don't, then it's scary and it's unsettling, right? So I want you guys to all write down this, or put it in your phone, okay? I'm going to give you a link, because I'm going to have a couple offerings that I'm going to tell you about at the end. But put down www.awaken, AWAKEN, with Jen. Can you write it down for me, honey? .com. Okay? Awakenwithjen.com. Okay, here is another area that we give our power away. Oh my gosh, this is going to really hit home with several of you. Who's a parent? Who has a child? Okay? We give our power away to our kids all the time. I was recently working with a client, and she was telling me about her daughter was falling into a deep depression. She didn't know what to do. Thank you, babe. How am I doing on time?
You're doing great. I don't know. I don't have a clock, so you're great.
12:14.
Okay. Okay. So her daughter was going into a deep depression, and she was witnessing this, and she was telling me, Jen, I don't know what to do. And I said, okay, all right, let's crack this open. Let's unpack it. Let's see what's up. And I said, well, what's going on with her? She said, well, she won't come out of her room. She comes home from school, goes straight to her room. Well, what's she doing in there? She's on TikTok or on social media. She's on her iPad or on her phone. Okay, all right. And she said her room's dark. She just goes in there and she has her LED lights on, and she literally just spends time in the dark on social media, right? And I said, okay, well, where's her room? Her room's downstairs. Okay, we got to change that. Got to move her room. What? I got to move her room. Yeah, you got to move her room upstairs. She needs to be around the family. If you feel like she's falling into a depression, she's starting to isolate herself, you got to pull her back, right? Because you're the parent. You got to pull her back. And so you got to move her room upstairs. You got to take her electronics from her. Oh, she'll be mad. Okay, but guess what? You are the parent. You're giving away all your power, honey. And in turn, it's hurting her. Okay? So you got to take that electronic. And she said that when she goes in there, her daughter yells at her and tells her to get out. Mm-hmm. So the pattern had been long gone, and she'd gotten to this point where now her daughter felt like she had the right to not ever give up her electronics, and that her mom wasn't allowed in her room. Okay? So stuff like that, like when we start to see the power going, we can't let it go too far. We got to step in, and we got to take back our power when it comes to our kids. So whenever my kids, if I had money for every time I've heard this, okay, well, Sally's mom lets her have sleepovers. Mia, what do I say whenever you tell me that?
Say, do I look like her mom?
So there's three things I say without fail. I say, do I look like Sally's mom? Number one. I don't parent according to what any other parent is doing. Number two. And number three, I will always do what I feel is best for you, my love. Okay? Those are the three things I always stand by when it comes to my parenting. So it's been a journey. Like, I give my power away to my kids too, but I'm just telling you these things so we can recognize when we're doing this with our kids, right? We also do this with family, friends, and society when we don't want to hurt their feelings or offend anyone, right? We do this in our relationships. We allow someone to come in. How many times have you done this where you were fine, you were feeling great, and you have somebody come in, maybe your spouse, your significant other, whoever, and they come in and they're in a foul mood. And they say some offhand rude comment, and you were in a great mood, and you just give all your power away to them, and you go right down to where they're at. That's giving our power away. We don't have to do that, And I know it's easier said than done, but you get to choose. You get to choose whether their foul mood it stays with them and you don't take it on and let it come in and take over, or their comment, or your parent makes a comment to you, or whoever makes a comment to you. You get to choose whether you allow that to come in and take over your emotions. I love the saying when people say, "You make me feel blah, blah, blah." No. Nobody can make you do anything. That is you giving away your power. So stop. Don't do that, right? Okay, the last one that I'm going to go over is the media. Okay, I'm constantly harping on the media. That was another thing I stepped foot in. I got my degree in journalism, and I started an internship at ABC4. The very first day I was sitting in there, you go and you sit around a conference table and you talk about what's the craziest, most painful, most horrible, most negative thing you could possibly think of, and that's the story we're going to go after, right? And I remember sitting there, and it was hype. Like, you take it, it's like the telephone story, right? By the end, you get to the end, and it's like so much bigger. And I saw that that's what they were doing, and I didn't want to be a part of it. And so I left the station that day realizing that I was in the wrong place and I was going to change course. But we've been taught that to be informed, it's almost like people think they're classy if they read the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times. The classy people read New York Times. It's like, ooh, I just want to be manipulated a little bit. I'm just going to read a little bit. That's essentially what it is. You're turning it on to be manipulated. There might be some threads of truth, but there's a narrative there, and a lot of it is not true. And I'm speaking from experience of being able to see like what they would say. Well, how can we make it better? How can we make it bigger? It's like thinking a soap opera is real. I really feel like that. And so really learning how to, get off the mainstream media and check within and get your own information is where it's at. Back in 1927 was when the television was invented. And I feel like it was a huge turning point. I wasn't here then. But it was a huge turning point for us because not only is the media very distracting and we give away our power to the media, because if you can control the narrative, if you can control the story, then you can control, right? That's all you need. And so not only is the media taking our power, but also us coming home and turning on the TV and numbing out to looking at other areas of our life that we could be paying attention to get back into our power, right? And so the TV in small, like, I'm not saying everybody get rid of their TV and live the Amish way, right? But recognizing that if you're doing that to numb out, when you could be, going for a walk, getting some fresh air, that's taking your power back. Or you could be having that hard conversation with your spouse that it's easier to just numb out and turn the TV on and neither of you talk. It's taking your power in a big way. Okay, so I want you guys to just take a few minutes, and I want you to think about some areas that you have possibly been giving away your power, and I'm going to ask a couple of people to share. So I'm going to give you just a couple minutes to just go within and think about, maybe you can write it down or put it in your phone or whatever, and think about where you've been giving your power away.
I should sing a song while we wait.
You could dance for us. You're good for me because I feel like we're like yin and yang.
Yeah.
But dressed in it.
That's very true. Yes.
She is.
Yeah. It was funny when I was getting when we were getting ready. Amanda showed me her boob. She was like,
Hey.
She was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. She accidentally flashed me, right? And then she was like, I was like, don't worry, I've seen that before, because she's actually answered our coaching calls in the shower before.
We have coaching calls in the shower. It's fine.
And I called her. I called her, and she's like, I'm not ready yet, baby. Okay. Does anyone?
I have nothing to hide.
Who will share? I need somebody
I'll
to get
share.
vulnerable with me.
I'll
Okay.
share.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I would say that a way that I give my power away is trying to please other people before myself. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a family, my parents were married and divorced 3 times each. And so there was always constant chaos, right? You have step siblings, now you don't have step siblings, you have step parents and you don't. And so I remember just wanting everybody to just be okay. Mm-hmm. Everybody just, as long as I can make sure everyone's okay, and I still do that, but I do it from the heart. Now I can recognize it. And then when it doesn't serve me, I know that I can pull back and hold in my power if it doesn't serve me. But a lot of my life, I've put other people before myself.
Yeah.
In an attempt to make sure that everyone's okay, everybody's happy, and there's somewhat of a peaceful environment around me, whether or not I've sacrificed myself in the process. I feel like sometimes I've been in situations where you feel like you're drowning, right? And I know that I'm strong enough to lift them out of the water, and I can do this because I'm strong enough, so I've sacrificed myself out of love for other people, which really has not served either party long term. So I stood back in my power on that, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
You guys don't really know me, but I've been battling cancer for the last 4 years, and currently still in chemo. And usually I felt good about things and stuff. So I didn't feel good, and so I told him I won't come to the surgery. And he said, well, you really need to have it. You need 2 kidneys. So I basically said, you can schedule me, but I'm not showing up. So I said, there's got to be something else. I said, I don't think we've tried everything. I said, perhaps I do some cleanses. Perhaps I do some dietary things differently to give my kidney a break a little bit more. I said, let's revisit this in 2 weeks. And he was just like, well, we can't do another scan. I said, I get it. The medical industry is not going to allow you to give me another CT scan. Because when the facts are laid on the table, I could actually just walk out of here. No one can force you. They can have you in the hospital bed upstairs, and plug us all in there.
Yeah.
They make you feel like you can't leave till the doctor comes and releases you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not in jail. I didn't commit a crime.
Woo!
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, one of the strongest.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I love it. Okay, so there's several reasons we give away our power. You know, the main one is we don't realize we're doing it. We're too busy. We're uncomfortable. Sometimes we get lazy, indifferent, or just complacent. Okay, so we're going to end with 5 ways to take back your power. Okay, so number 1, start saying no. Okay, I want you to practice no. I don't want to come. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I won't babysit your kids. No, right? Start saying no. Luckily, my husband has given me several opportunities to practice this one. But speaking up when you don't agree or you're not comfortable or aren't getting what you want or deserve, okay? Start saying no, putting your foot down, okay? If you don't want to go to something or attend something, there doesn't need to be this big made-up grand story. That is something we have been conditioned to do. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened the other day. My nephew was getting married, and I have a huge family. I always have nephews and nieces getting married. I have 8 siblings, okay? But I had a whole slew of graduation announcements and wedding stuff going on, and I had them in a certain area, and somehow they got kind of pushed to the side and like stacked up on the counter. I completely forgot about my nephew's wedding, completely, okay? And I get this group text of my sisters, and they say, there's like 3 of us on there, and they say, oh, I'm here. Are you guys here yet? Should we walk in together? And I was like, wait, what's going on? And then I realized, oh, damn, it's my nephew's wedding, and there's no way I can go. I was helping my son look for his apartment. He had just gotten to my place. It was happening like right then. It wasn't I couldn't go. So I was just like, oh, shoot, I dropped the ball on that one, right? And I felt pretty bad about it. So the next day, I texted my brother, and I didn't make up some big lie, but I just said, hey, I'm sorry, because I genuinely was sorry. I said, I'm sorry I couldn't come, because I couldn't by that point. I couldn't come. Can I get his Venmo so I can send him some money, right? So with that, because at first it was like, gosh, that's uncomfortable, you know? But I've had to retrain myself from making up some BS story. Yes. People can feel that. They know you're not being genuine. They know it's like some hyped BS story, right? So just saying, sorry, I couldn't make it. What's his Venmo? Is enough, right? Mm-hmm. So number 1, start saying no. And that wasn't me saying no, but when you don't want to commit to something or do something or go somewhere, just start saying no. Yeah. You don't always have to say yes. Say no to the things that you don't want to do. Number 2, only say you're sorry when you're sorry.
Ooh, that's good.
You'll catch yourself saying sorry all the time when you're really not sorry. So change that, okay? Number 3, this is the biggest one. It's so good and it's so important, and that is learn. Take the time to learn. It can feel overwhelming, all of this information at first, but day by day, just learning something new every day, it adds up. And you know that saying, knowledge is power? It really is. It's everything. It's just like that conversation I had with my doctor that day. Had I not had that knowledge, then I would have been very vulnerable and just had to do what she was telling me to do. So start to learn and find those people that know, you can tell, you're like, they know some things, and let's ask them questions, and find those people that you feel good about, that you feel aligned with. Find people online that all they do is research what's in food, which, by the way, I love the food babe. She's really awesome. Her name's Vanny Hari. And I find there's people that are experts, and I listen to them, and I'm like, I'm not aligned with that. So I move on to somebody until I find that person that I'm aligned with. So learn, okay? Number 3, ownership of your story. When I asked you if you're creative, number 4. Ownership of your story. Thanks, Kesley. We are all so creative. We are creative magic in a human body. And we get here and we forget that. So the truth is, yes, you're creative. Yes, you're creative. We went through maybe you went through the traditional school system, maybe you didn't, but when you go through that school system and it botches out your creativity, by the time you're spit out of the school system, you now forgot. So start to work on your story and think about what you're putting behind those two powerful words, I am. What are you saying behind those two powerful words? That is where you get your power back. I am beautiful, I am strong, I am happy, I am full of joy. And maybe you're not at the moment, but you say it and you say it and you say it, and you rewire your life. And you eventually stand back in your power. And you start saying, I am powerful, I am confident, I'm standing in my power with my spouse. You know, sometimes people get in relationships where they feel like they're bulldozed over. But you start to tell that new story and things start to shift. Okay? Number 4. Number 5. Come back in line with your internal guidance system. Okay? You got to strengthen it. It's like a muscle. It sits right below your heart, right in your core, your internal guidance system. Before we came here to planet Earth, we weren't afraid because we knew that we had this internal guidance system that would say, go this way. Oh, stay away from that way. Okay, no, not that way. Go this way. Or go that way, right? We knew that we'd have this system that would say, hey, I have a good feeling about this person. Have you ever gone on a date with somebody you didn't feel good about? Right? And later you're like, dang it. I didn't feel good about them in the beginning and I wasted, 3 months on them or whatever. If you learn from it, then it wasn't a mistake. But we have that internal guidance system, so coming back in line with that and strengthening that, there's a major difference. You hear all the time, oh, judgment. They're judgmental. Judgment is bad, okay? Guess what? There is a major difference in discernment and judgment. And I will discern all day long. And so if somebody somebody shows up to my house drunk and wants my kids to get in the car with them, I'm going to make a judgment call that I'm not doing that, right? You can call me judgmental, right? So to stop thinking that discernment and judgment are the same, okay? Discernment is good, and that sits right here within us. So starting to come back in line with our internal guidance system and listening to our intuition. And it's something that, you can start saying, I'm listening to my internal guidance system. It's 90% intention, right? Of like, wait, let me think. Hold on. Shh. Okay, I know what to do. And it's that muscle of just listening, and then you coming back into the guidance system. When I was a child, or I should say when I was a teen and in my early 20s, this was so covered up. My intuition was not on point. But now it's like, I know what to do. Okay? So I know this can feel overwhelming. I know there's a lot, right? But I hope you had some massive ahas today. And it's just stepping on the path. Once you step on that path, your life will get better and better, I promise. And you hold all the power, my darlings. The power is all within you. And so step on that path, come back in line. It's time, start finding your voice. Use your mind, use your heart, use your internal guidance system. This is a major, beautiful, miraculous, magical soul and body that we were given for a reason. And start stepping in your power and using it, okay? So there's 2 offerings I have for you today that you can find with that Awaken with Jen, and that is, number 1, I'm giving you a free month to my Awaken group, and so you can sign up today and you can come and be a part of my Awaken group for 1 free month. Number 2, I want you to check out my Empowerment Academy. These are things I'm going to be sharing a lot about the blockchain and cryptocurrency and Bitcoin exponential technologies, these things that if you're paying attention right now, you will benefit big time. If you're not, you're going to miss out. And so I'm going to be sharing a lot of this information. I've been actually researching since 2018. It came into my awareness in 2018. And so there's a lot of people that aren't paying attention. They have no idea about it. And so this group is something that I wished I would have had. And so it's 6 weeks. It's a mastermind group. It kicks off July 20th. But get on there now because there's early bird pricing until June 30th. So thanks so much for coming today. I love you guys.
I love you.
Oh, I love you. Oh my God, right? I think we can give her a little louder one than that, right? Let's put some back into it. Only for you. Only for you. It wasn't the shower, but you know, it was a little something.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Okay, so how many of you guys in this room got something out of this class today? How many of you guys are actually going to take Jen up on her Awaken coaching course for free every Friday? Come on, this is a commitment to yourself,
I'm
right?
already in it.
So I'll get in it. I'm a part of it,
Yeah.
but I've been working my way back in it, so I'll put myself there if you do. Deal?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to give you so much love and appreciation today. Like you have blessed so many people's lives across the world that you don't even know how much power you do hold and how much power you give each and every one of us just by being here and shining your light with us like a lighthouse on the fucking beach. So thank you, Jen. I love you.
I love you.